Alright, so back to code with Gabriel, and this module we are going to be introducing ourselves to array in JavaScript. So trying to understand array in JavaScript is very important because array is like a container that contains arrangement of our data. Let's just go ahead and dive right in. So the first thing I'm going to put here, I have an empty index.html page which I'm going to flood up with some HTML right now. And right here we'll just leave this, then we should throw a1 that said welcome to JavaScript array. Like I said before, the array is just an arrangement of data and how data is being arranged in a container. So before we do that, we want to load a particular event. We are going to create a function with this JavaScript, then load it on when the page is loaded on the page. So on load, we want to say okay, call array. So this is the function that we are going to execute when the page is loaded. Then right here we're going to say the function. Okay, if I can type function, then we're going to call array. Alright, this is nice. So there are actually two ways to declare an array in JavaScript. You can say let array equals to new array like this. Then we go ahead and input the name like Paul, Peter, comma, and James. Sorry, I'll put that in string, then James. Alright, so we can just say console.log this array. We print the array into our console, or we just go ahead and create an output right here. So allow me to have a paragraph tag with ID of outputs, then we just close it up like that. So we'll go up to this place, say let array equals to new array, console.log. We can say let output equals to document dirt get elements by ID of output on. Okay, so let me just explain what I do here. The first thing I do is that I use the let statement to create a variable that actually goes ahead and create a new array for us. And I console.log the array, which means I print the array inside the console, and I'm trying to pull out the output tag by doing the picking it from the document. Then I get the element by the ID of output. So this code is going to go through this document and fetch out the tag with the ID of output. And right here I can just come here to say output dot inner HTML is equals to array, just like that. So this is just a bunch of code. New array of Paul, Peter, and James. This is just an arrangement of array. Then I console.log it, put it on a variable, then inner HTML. Let's just refresh this. Okay, let me just copy this part, copy part, paste, then refresh. So all I have is just welcome to JavaScript array, and that is because I've not actually tried to link this HTML page with this script, JavaScript that I just created. So in order to do that, we need to go ahead and do that in the head. So we are going to set script, then we can define the type of the script that we are doing, text plus JavaScript. Then we can define the source of this script by saying JavaScript splash, then go into script.js. Then we close the script by just closing it in a normal way like that. Scripts. God. Okay, so this is how to let me just go and bring this up a bit. Right, good. So this is how to go ahead and link up a JavaScript file with your HTML code, with your HTML file. Let's just refresh this. So right now, when I refresh the page, we have Paul, Peter, and James printed on the page. And if I try to press F12, we're going to our console. We are going to realize that our console actually provide information for us about this array. So we have the Paul, we have the Peter, we have James. So the most interesting thing about this is that we have a prototype, and if you look at these right from this prototype, concards, constructor, these are a lot of methods that we can use on our array. So this is a lot of method, like we can use the to string on shift, we can use for index, we can use include, index of, we can join them, we can use the queues, we can use the last index of, we can pop, we can push, we can reduce, we can map through the arrays and do a lot of stuff. So those are the methods that we can do on the array. So this is just right here is just a first way, or let me say just a first way of creating an array. And as a matter of fact, if you create array not in this method and try to console log it, you are just going to get only the value of the array. You will not be able to get the object, the prototype objects that I decided to show you right here. All these guys, you won't be able to actually get them out like that. So let's just go ahead and use the second method. So I'm just going to clear this up. So the second method is to use the square brackets. So the square brackets are like a container to, we can do pour then we can put James, we can put John. Okay, this is really interesting. Now then let's refresh this. So you can see we have Paul, James, and John. Instead of using the new object array then put the array inside, we can just put inside the square bracket like this. Everything's going to work fine. But the difference is if you actually go ahead and console the log the array, so you still have the array printed on the page. This is super, and all the method are still there for us to utilize. And let's just go ahead, let me just go ahead and quickly talk how to actually access this array, delete this array, and do some other stuff. So array are actually index. What I mean by index is that they are arranged in an hierarchical order, or they have some sequence of arrangement. Like Paul is sitting on 0, James is sitting on 1, and John is sitting on 2. So to access Paul, you can just go ahead and do pick up this guy on 0. So since it starts from 0, 1, 2, and the total length of this array is 3, so we can just say who is sitting down on 0. It's going to say, let's just concatenate that. Say who is on 0. So you can just give an answer to that by saying who is on 0. It's we're just going to go ahead and check now. Let's just refresh this. So when I say who is on 0, you can see we have this say to us that Paul is on 0. Then we can just try like who is on 1 and put 1 right here. So we have, you say who is on 1, you say James is on 1. Then who is on 2, who is on 2. So say who is on 2, say John is actually on 2. So just want to show us that real quick. Another thing I want to show is that how to return the length of the array. So if you try to print the length of the array, just concatenate this. Say the length of array is, so let's just try that for a second, so real quick now. So what I did is just array dot length, we return the length of the array. So the length of the array is 3. So that is all I want to show you about the array. This module, in the next module, we are going to be talking about array methods Now the methods we can actually perform or do with the array.